guys, it's Lando from the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast, coming at you today to help you through some of these drop candidates. These players that we drafted maybe pretty high, maybe you picked them up off waivers, but can you drop them to the waiver wire? Our video last week did so well about AJ Green that we had to do another one. So if you haven't already, check out that video. And of course you can drop AJ Green. But I'm going to go through some guys. If you have specific questions on players, if you can drop them to the waiver wire, if they can be a landmine on someone else's fantasy team, drop it in the comments below and we will respond to every single one of those comments. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at LandoFF. Follow us on all socials at snap_fantasy, and consider subscribing to the show. We put out some great content every single week, especially our waiver wire segment every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. But we have to talk about Zach Ertz, the reason you are all here. Zach Ertz has been super disappointing. Once, Alshon hasn't come back, Deshaun Jackson hasn't come back, and Dallas Goedert has been hurt, and everyone figured Zach Ertz had to be the number one target getter in that offense. But we've seen guys like Travis Fulgham come in. We've seen Greg Ward command targets. And Zach Ertz has been ultra disappointing this past week against Pittsburgh. He had 6 targets, only 1 reception. That one could have gotten in the end zone, but he is not the same Zach Ertz that we knew before. He's not that young stud tight end that has been getting in the end zone all the time and that commands targets regardless of the coverage. So I'll go through his stats a little bit. Against Washington, he had 7 targets, 3 receptions, only 18 yards, but he got into the end zone. That's his only touchdown of the year so far. Against the Rams, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 42 yards, and a touchdown. His best game came against Kansas City. He had 10 targets, 7 receptions, and 70 yards. That's his best game in half-point leagues. He was 10.5 fantasy points. But that came in overtime. Before that, he wasn't having a great game. So, Zach Ertz. Can you drop Zach Ertz? And it depends. Right now, looking at tight ends available in, let's say, own 40% or 50% or more, you've got Eric Ebron, you've got Jimmy Graham, Mo Alley Cox, Chris Herndon, Logan Thomas. These guys all on your waiver wire, and I wouldn't prefer these guys over Zach Ertz. The tight end position as a whole is super volatile. If you look at a guy like Mark Andrews, he had 2 games of just over 3 points. If you look at Waller has 1 game with 1.9 points. In the game under 10. And these guys are top end tight ends right now. The best tight end right now is Travis Kelce. There's Jonnu Smith, and Jonnu had a game under 10 points. Robert Tonyan and Jimmy Graham are up there as far as tight ends. But if you are getting out of Zach Ertz, there's a reason right now that people want him, because people are saying, and the fantasy community right now is saying that, well, Zach Ertz isn't good when he's going to be better when Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are back. They're going to take away coverage. So if you could sell Zach Ertz on your fantasy team with that narrative, being like, you know what, Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are going to take away coverage. Jackson's going to stretch the field. You get him on that. Because are we really sure that Alshon and Jackson are the same receivers that they once was? I'm just not buying into that narrative. You can still sell Zach Ertz on name value alone. And if you have players like Noah Fant, maybe Hayden Hurst is available now. Maybe he's been dropped. Jimmy Graham is performing pretty well. Maybe just sit Zach Ertz down on your bench and wait until he's got a better matchup, because right now they've got some tough matchups coming up. They play Baltimore this week. I do not want to start Zach Ertz against Baltimore. And going forward, if you're watching this video ahead of time, the Giants is a great matchup. Dallas is a great matchup. Bye week, Giants, Cleveland, Seattle. So there is upside for Zach Ertz going forward. But maybe if you just want to get out, this is the time to just sell out of potentially the schedule coming up, or maybe you really buy Zach Ertz on the ultra low. Get rid of an Austin Hooper perhaps, or old man Jared Cook, or Hayden Hurst even on the name value. And I'm going to talk about another guy, Dalton Schultz. He's been dropped in a lot of Yahoo leagues, and I think he should be rostered still. Check the waiver wire. He is 70% owned right now, but I've seen him in transactions that he's been dropped. So take a look for Dalton Schultz. Even with Andy Dalton, I think Dalton Schultz is still going to be somewhat involved, even after that bad game. So other guys that are getting dropped quite a bit. We've got Joshua Kelley on bye, had a bad game. Am I willing to drop Joshua Kelley? No. Keep him on your bench or pick up Josh Kelley. Duke Johnson. Am I willing to drop Duke Johnson? Yes, I am willing to drop Duke Johnson. He wasn't involved. It's been the David Johnson show. Duke Johnson is barely a flex play right now. He's still involved in some of the passing game, but he's not getting looked at too often. Sammy Watkins is banged up with a hamstring injury. I would drop Sammy Watkins, and I would pick up McCole Hardman. So check to see if McCole's on your waiver wire right now. I'm willing to drop Sammy Watkins. He's very inconsistent as it is as a fantasy wide receiver, and now that he has a hamstring injury, could be out two to 3 weeks at this time. Just drop Sammy Watkins on the waiver wire. Tre'Quan Smith, I would drop Tre'Quan Smith now. Emmanuel Sanders is the secondary option in that offense, and Michael Thomas is coming back. So go ahead and drop Tre'Quan Smith. Russell Gage, we saw Zacchaeus run more routes than Russell Gage, and hopefully we'll see Julio Jones come back. That offense just isn't that great. Dan Quinn being gone, I'm willing to drop Russell Gage. He's a fringe flex play at best with Julio out as it is. And then Jerick McKinnon has been dropped in a lot of leagues, and am I willing to drop him? That is a no. I'm not willing to drop Jerick McKinnon. Even with Raheem Mostert back, Jerick McKinnon will be involved. It was a really bad game script. It was a tough matchup for some reason against Miami this past week, and Jerick McKinnon is still going to be a valuable asset and still a flex play. He won't be as valuable now that Raheem Mostert is back, but we know he's one of the best handcuffs right now in that offense that runs one of the best zone running games in the league. I'm going to finish off you with a couple more points about Zach Ertz. He has the fifth most air yards for a tight end right now at 269, but he is underperforming and only has 145 yards. Someone with less air yards, Darren Waller, has 268 air yards, and Darren Waller has double the yards. He has 293 yards. So just for context, Zach Ertz is still getting the targets, still getting the air yards, just isn't coming down with it. Although he's not the old Zach Ertz that he once was, I still don't think he's washed. So, and right now, again, the tight end landscape is terrible. So if you have questions about dropping players, if you're picking up a guy like Brandon Cooks, or if you picked up a guy like AJ Green, if you're adding Mike Williams or dropping someone else, drop it in the comments and we will answer every single question. But for now, we will see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys, and don't forget to subscribe and click that notification to get all of our updated videos. Thanks.